Should be. I'm still awake.
There. Yes, perfect. Sebastian Bell.
Sweet.
All right.
Thunder Bay.
All right.
Yeah.
I have to go.
Go ahead, Eric.
Sorry.
All right, Dave,
I
take it
really
away,
do
man.
have to go. All right. Have
No
fun.
worries.
Nice to meet you, Vanessa, and hope be well, everyone. All right. Thanks. I'm gonna mute myself too. Okay.
All right.
And
We'll see you.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Bye. Ciao.
Ciao.
Good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon, wherever you are.
What's up, Alex?
Good morning, everybody.
What's up, Dan?
How you doing?
I'm living the dream.
My dad's not gonna put his video on? Come on, Dad.
What's up, Vanessa? Long time no see.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
You're
How are
in
you? Am I where?
New York, or where are you?
Charlotte,
Charlotte. Okay, not New York.
not New York. Very pretty right
My dad's on now. I won't say hi to my dad.
Where'd he go?
Hi, Dad.
Oh, there he is.
Bald mustache.
Steve. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
There we go. How long have you been in Toronto now? Not
Um, this was my 7th season. Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah.
Where are you from originally? Again?
I'm from about an hour away, actually, and I did my undergrad here as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I'm from
That's
near Niagara
amazing.
Falls. Yeah, it was pretty weird to win a job, come back and work with people you never thought you'd see again.
Yeah.
Ex-boyfriends.
Oh, wow.
I remember when I was a grad student, the Hartford Symphony opened up, which is technically the closest orchestra to where I grew up, and I was in no position to even win that job at the time. But I remember thinking like, damn, it was too early. Had it come up a little bit later in my life, then maybe. But
Yeah. Yeah, I just kind of lucked out with the timing.
yeah, that's great though. That's great.
Sweet city, too,
And
for
I-
sure.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
I've never been to Toronto. I've been to a lot of Canada, and I do a summer brass band thing in Halifax every year. Well, not this year, obviously, but my family and I, we actually drive up to Canada. It's a really it's like our version of Walkabout. It takes like several weeks for us to pretty much meander our way up and back, and
Wow. Yeah, Halifax is beautiful.
yeah. I mean, most of Canada is, from what I've seen. All right, it's about that time. All right, good morning, everybody. Glad you could make it today. We've got a great session. Really excited about it today. So just a couple of quick announcements. Most of you have heard the spiels before. Chat is enabled, and we do encourage people sharing and chatting. But just remember, as always, we don't have to worry too hard about it. But if you do get a suspicious link from somebody that you do not know, we recommend you do not click on it and make some inquiries, maybe make a public announcement to us that you got something and it can be verified, etc. For those of you that are joining us from places where perhaps English is not your first language, If you need help or further explanation, just ask in the chat or raise your hand, and there are enough people here that are able to help that out. We are recording today. We have a presenter a couple weeks from now who had requested to just see some of the sessions, but we're also toying with the idea of making them available for participants so that they can be reviewed at later times. We'll let you know if we can figure out a good way to do that. And that's, I don't know, Daniel, am I missing anything, or it's pretty much the spiel, right?
No, I think you pretty much covered your usual.
All right, yeah, we will, all the participants will be muted, so feel free to play along or play back in the comfort of your own space, but that way the airwaves remain relatively free and clear for Vanessa Fralick. So if we're ready to go, Vanessa, why don't you take it away, and I'll mute myself here.
Okay, hi everybody. Just want to thank Jason and everyone for asking me to do this hangout. It's been over 2 months since I've done anything like this, so I'm excited. And I really just want to actually do a warm-up with all of you today and get you all playing. I'm just going to go through basically what my usual routine is, some of my favorite warm-up exercises, and I'll have some screen sharing going on so you can see the music and play along. I thought I'd just introduce my warm-up a little bit first, and so I play second and associate principal trombone in the Toronto Symphony, and I teach at University of Toronto. I've been back in Toronto for about 7 years. And before that, I played 3 years in St. Louis Symphony and a year in San Antonio. So I got to spend a little bit of time down in the States, but happy to be back in Canada. So my warm-up has really changed a lot over the last decade. As a student, how I learned was really largely just listening and imitating, and I was a pretty natural learner in that way. And then once I started teaching, I found that I really needed to develop a better understanding of what exactly I was doing, so that I could pass that along to students, and students who learn in different ways, be able to explain it in multiple ways. And for me, just to work on my own issues that I think we all go through different little minor crises throughout our careers, and that's, I don't think anyone doesn't experience that at some point. So I want to encourage everyone, if you feel like something's weird in your playing, talk about it right away with people. Don't hide that. And I think we're lucky if you have a position with an orchestra, you have a little bit more comfort of I feel like I can talk to my colleagues and say, can you help me out with this issue I'm having? Do you have any ideas for this? And I get that as a freelancer, you might want to kind of make sure that you're talking to people that are really supportive and that you can trust. But definitely talk about it, because everyone's going through stuff. I dealt with a major hesitation issue for a few years, so and that led to a lot of residual tension in my articulation. So a lot of my warm-up is based around those issues and making sure that I'm really maintaining good habits every day. And putting a big emphasis on just a really smooth transition from inhale to exhale, because I don't know if anyone else has ever had a hesitation issue. I see it in a lot of students, but just where you really want to be, I guess, kind of aware of that we can get stopped up with our air is right when we go from breathing in to creating sound. So just making sure that there's a beautiful flow and a smooth transition from that inhale to the exhale, whether or not you're combining it with a tongue. I think there's good tension and bad tension in playing. So for me, the good tension is as your rib cage is expanding, that you engage those intercostal muscles and basically stop yourself from collapsing and sagging, so that you continue to support throughout the phrase by remaining as open as you can for as long as possible. So I'll often, if you feel just around your sternum here with your fist, take a breath in, and then make sure that you're still feeling something activated there as you breathe out, and not letting that sag right away. and this, takes the pressure off of the smaller muscles in your neck, in your jaw, in your lips that want to micromanage and get it sounding how you want it to sound. So to that end, kind of the first thing that I do every day, I took some lessons with some with members of the Boston Symphony last summer to work on some of this stuff. And one thing that was kind of new to me was learning that there's kind of two ways that you can do an air attack. So there's the one that I'd always done where you just blow and kind of your embouchure forms as you blow and you find the note as you blow. So if y'all want to just do that on a middle F. So just do a couple of those air attacks, just kind of free blowing, feed your lips, lots of air. And you should be feeling like your lips are a little bit farther apart than they need to be, and then finding that optimal spot where as you bring them together, they catch and vibrate against each other. So the other type of air attack that you can do is by using the glottis, which is the opening of your vocal cords, and that opening expands as we breathe in to let air through, and contracts as we and narrows when we vibrate our vocal cords against each other. So every time we activate those vocal cords, your glottis is working. There's no tension in that, and you can use that. And hopefully you can hear me do this, but just you can just activate it gently. And I think like when I first started doing it, I overdid it. You don't need to do it a lot. Just a very gentle releasing the air with your glottis. And what this does is it enables your embouchure and your lips to already be fully set, and there's no fight between the air and your lips then. So your lips are nice and relaxed. We're going to vibrate across the entire length of your embouchure, and we can just start the air release the air with the glottis. And then you can just combine that with the tongue. And I find it really takes a lot of the pressure off of the lips, and it stops you from having kind of a pressure cooker effect of the air exploding out from when the tongue moves. So the first thing I do every day is a really free exercise of various air attacks, gentle tonguing, and glissing. So an example of that might just be try exactly that together. So just first glottal air attacks, then gentle tonguing, and then some loose glissing. And then I often like to reverse the gliss. You know, we always do descending glisses, but let's start on a B natural and gliss upwards. Yeah, and at this time, I'm also acquainting my arm with my air again. And I usually try to feel like I'm matching, the style of my arm is matching the way that I'm blowing my air. So if you're doing glisses and your arm looks really jerky, that's going to be echoed in how you sound. So if you want to get that nice, smooth, beautiful sound, try to get your arm matching that as well. So let's just do one more descending bliss, all the way down to 7th position, breathing when you need to. Great, so it just feels good. We're getting blowing. We're starting to think about the sound we want to create, and and you're just going for like a relaxed feel, beautiful tone, and smooth air and arm. And I like to stay in the mid register for a while before I go into any extreme registers. Oh, I also wanted to say, if anybody has any questions at any point, I'm happy to answer them. Just get mine or Jason's attention, and we'll. Oh, it looks like Daniel does.
Yeah, Vanessa, I had a question. Just it's small potatoes, but when you're doing the breath attacks and you're engaging the glottis, do you feel like you do that on the first one, or is the
Yes.
first on
Like
the
the
first
first note, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So right from the first note. So
And that seems to work okay with your smooth transition between the inhale and the exhale.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Great. So I'll keep going. So the next thing that I like to do every day is kind of a riff on a Caruso study, and it's a long tone exercise. So whatever long tone exercise you like doing, but this one I use some of the Caruso method tactics. So if you can tap your foot, so I'm gonna go at about like this speed. And you want to be subdividing in your head. Da 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 da. And no matter what, you want to play that note exactly with the beat. And we're not so worried about, at this point, like a lot of what I've done to overcome my hesitation issue is to not micromanage and to take away expectations and just have the focus be on that the note happens when I want it to happen. So sometimes it sounds bad, and I'm okay with that most of the time. So so this exercise is just about staying set and connecting your register. We're going to start on a middle F, and the rhythm is just half note, whole note, then a whole note rest, and you stay set and breathe through your nose on the whole note rest. Okay, and we'll just go up chromatically, up to the F an octave up. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3. and then take a little rest. So the next thing that I like to do, I'm gonna actually bring in a little special guest to help me out. I'm very fortunate to have a great quarantine practice buddy. My boyfriend is conveniently the principal horn in the Toronto Symphony. And here he is, this is Neil.
Hi.
So, Neil, trombone players.
Yeah, I know some of
Trombone
them.
players,
Yeah.
Neil. And so I started doing this exercise thanks to my good friend Louis Bremer, who's a bass trombonist who I worked with in San Antonio, and we used to get to the hall every day an hour before rehearsal and warm up either simultaneously or actually warm up together. And one thing that we like to do is this exercise that he introduced me to, and we call it power fifths. And we're just going to go descending. It's best if you have someone to do it with, but also you can just record yourself playing one note and then play back with yourself. So we're going to start on, you can play the top or the bottom note if you want. I'm going to play an F in the bass clef staff, and Neil's going to play a fifth above me. And it's kind of free. I don't do this with a metronome. It's great because you just kind of work on playing with each other and like understanding each other's breathing cues. So it's great for doing with people in your section. And we're just gonna, I start by doing the notes, 2 notes per breath, and then as we get lower I start breathing in between every note, and you're just going for steady tone and finding that great intonation where it really locks in and kind of sounds even louder than you're playing. Hence, power fifths. Okay. So F or C, and going down chromatically, and we'll just go as low as we can. Okay, so. Trombonists fake the B natural. Okay, that always makes my nose really tickle. Thank you, Neil. Yay.
Welcome. Pleasure to be here.
You're freed now.
Still have those whiskey glasses, Eric.
Okay, so yeah, it's really nice to get to play with someone else even for a minute, and it's also a much less lonely way to practice pedal tones, I find. Okay, so the next thing is I want to get playing some music. So there's a warm-up that I've had for a long time from Pete Ellefson, and he just puts a few little chimera etudes in it. So I'm going to share my screen with you all, and we can just play that all together. Okay. Get to the right one. Okay, so can everyone see that number 1? Yes? Okay, so just around like 72, I think. Yeah, I pretty much almost always have a metronome going when I'm warming up, but we'll just get the tempo to start and then I'll turn it off. So around there. Okay. I'll count us off. 1, and feel free to take it down an octave, bass trombonist. 1, 2, I'm sure you all sounded beautiful. So that's just a nice little etude. I really just like playing some sort of music early on. It's kind of the first time I'm putting vibrato in, thinking about phrasing, and just instead of just doing all monotonous, boring etudes. Okay, so then let's get back to the boring etudes. Oh, there's a question. Maybe.
Yes, Vanessa, just a quick question. Pete, I remember working on these etudes as well, and they're fantastic. With little melodies like this and things that are much more, scalar and diatonic, have you ever practiced like just playing like a power fifths version of this, like having somebody play it in the key of E flat?
No, but that would be a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Neil, do you want to play an etude?
Sure.
No, we already played it. He's ready to go. He's right here. Okay. Okay, but yeah, no, that would be. I'll probably do that later. Thank you for the idea.
Cool.
Yeah, it would be the perfect thing to do it with for sure. And I mean, you can do that with rough shoes too, of course.
Right.
So next, I'd just like to do some slow slurs. Someone once told me that all the best brass players do their slow slurs every day, so let's do some slow slurs. So does that work if I have the metronome on? Okay, so everyone can see the exercise, and let's just do it. I guess one thing I would say before, and this will apply to the next couple exercises as well, is that when I do these, it's kind of like, if you've ever heard of the concept minimum effective dose. When I do slurs, I like to think of seeing how little effort I can get away with putting in. So like how little work can you do? Because the tendency is like we see a big interval and we like really speed up our air really quickly and we do a big shift. And so I'm trying to really massage between those intervals. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. this is never the most pleasant, but let's do the ones with the F valve engaged. So starting on E flat, just keep your valve down the whole way. 1, 2, 3. Whew. That air going. Oh, there's a big delay. I can still hear myself. Oh well. Okay. Great. So then this other warm up that I kind of brought around with me for ever and ever is this. I went to the Alessi seminar as a participant, or sorry, as an auditor in 2007, and down in New Mexico. And this warm up was handed out to everybody, and I'm happy to share it, email it to people if you'd like a copy of it after. But I did this warm up every day for a long time, and now I kind of pick and choose my favorites. But you can see, like, the first two exercises, that's kind of the basis for the beginning of my warm up, just glissing and free gentle tonguing. But the one I want to do right now is this one. So it's just a kind of a slow slur flexibility in between exercise. I like that you're kind of flexing from the middle register. So I actually like to add an F, a middle F, I guess a dotted quarter note before. So ba dee da 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 dee da. So just add a note before, and then you're kind of getting set, like, right in your beautiful, comfortable mid register, and then flexing up and down from there. We'll do it at about the same tempo. So just adding a pickup note, dotted quarter note, the middle note of each. So F, E, E flat going down. So I'll give 1, 2, 1. 1, 2. Great. So that's a good one. Just feels like you get your air moving a little more. And then let's also do exercise number 10, which is wider intervals. I love the interval of a sixth, so I love this exercise. I like to make sure that I'm thinking about the quality of my descending slur as well as the ascending slur, because I think we often get focused on making sure body is really beautiful, and then we're not thinking as much about that slur. So make sure that you have both. Just be aware of both of those. Okay, so they're all the same tempo. It's great. You can just set your metronome and forget it. So body. Actually, let's go a little bit slower, just because this might be new to some people. Okay, so normally I'll often have to like breathe near the end of these, and then I'll just repeat the note that I played before the breath to make sure I'm getting every connection. But I'll just, since we're all doing it as a group, we'll just sneak breaths when we need them. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, I skipped one. A major, 2, 3. Great. Okay. So the next thing is pretty much my favorite exercise ever. I do this every day. I'm sure somebody can tell me in 2 seconds, but I can't even remember where the original came from. But anyway, it's just a legato range exercise. And I mix it up. Some days I do it with no tongue. Some days I do it with legato tongue. So I'm going to do it with legato tongue today. I usually set my metronome at quarter note equals 60. Yeah, and just try to make it as singing and relaxed and beautiful as possible. And my general rule with doing high range exercises is go till you're comfortable and then do one more. And then, so you push it a little bit every day, and then that'll gradually, hopefully, expand what the comfortable one is. But we'll just do a couple of these. So I think I've put, just a few keys on here. So we'll just do the ones that I wrote out. Okay, so nice and singing legato. 1, 2, 3. Semitone higher. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we'll do G major. 1, 2, 3. So it's just a great way to get into your high register in a relaxed and singing way, and just, again, keep going till it's a little bit uncomfortable. It's also a great exercise if you have a lake or a mountain or someplace beautiful, or even like a picture of one in your studio. Okay, any questions at this point? No? Okay, so my alternative high range exercise is from Alessi's warm-up. So you can even see some handwritten notes from the seminar. So Alessi said, go until you feel stress. When you get to that point, repeat it. For extra range building, hold the top note. Think of the syllable E on the top notes. And I always like doing something Norman Bolter told me in a lesson once, which was that he said if you're feeling tense on a high note, add slide vibrato, because you can't sustain a note with slide vibrato if you're not supporting properly. So sometimes when I'm holding that top note, I'll add a little slide vibrato as well, just to get that nice, relaxed, supportive feeling, and that nice sound, that not tense sound. So I thought we could just do one of these, starting on the low E. And again, this is one you can practice no tongue. So maybe I'll do no tongue on this one this time. And we'll hold that top note for 3 counts. So it'll be da 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 dee da 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 da. Okay. Okay, here we go. And yeah, so the progression is, it looks like a lot of
Did everybody lose her?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you're back.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard?
It looks like a lot of notes, but
Okay, but it is, no. But it's just a major triad, major triad first inversion, minor first inversion, diminished, augmented. So it's just a pattern. Okay. Okay, 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 1. Cool. So let's do the diminished and augmented one more time now that you've all had one crack at it. So we'll start from the diminished one again on the 3rd line. 2 bars for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 1. And I like that exercise because it's only a really high note every 3rd and 4th line. Most of the time you're just working in kind of like mid to high register. So you're just gradually getting more comfortable up there. Okay. And then I thought we should probably do an articulation exercise. So we're just going to do this really basic one here. Also from the Ellefson warm-up. I don't know, let's do B major. Okay, so we'll do B major, and I like this one because it just makes clear in your head the distinction between the different types of articulations because you're doing them back to back. So we have legato, tenuto, staccato. So just making a clear difference between each one.
Vanessa, before we begin, would you be willing to demonstrate just that first line so we can hear your differences?
Sure. God, why did I pick B major? Okay. Something like that. Okay, cool. So let's all do it together. Going down, just going down the scale. So just diatonically B major. We can just do it without the metronome. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. You know, I thought of one more thing I should say, which is that for the legato, I really think of trying to go as smooth as possible, and I usually end up using a na articulation. So I think like a lot of trombone players, I mean, most of you seasoned pros know this already, but like if you're in school, you might not have heard of that you can, it's not just D's and T's, you can really expand your articulation range into a lot of consonants. So it's just where your tongue is hitting and how much it's interfering with the airstream. And also, if you're doing this in a loud dynamic, try using the vowel shape oo instead of ah, because if you just say do 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 do, say that, versus da 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 da, you feel how much more your tongue has to move to get out of the way of the airstream when you're saying da 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 da. But if you're saying do 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 do, you can really just sustain that vowel longer. So it's great for like your Mahler 3, your marcato legato kind of playing. So just really just push the limits and see how smooth you can get that tongue on the legato. Okay, so let's go. We've done B, so now we're on A sharp. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, tongue is working. Great, and then the last exercise that I do sort of at the end of my routine these days, this is kind of a newer addition, is also a riff on a Caruso exercise. So it's just da 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 da. So it's slur and then tongue. And this is just the thing to be thinking about is that you're using the same air for the tongue notes that you are for the slurred notes. So the tendency is to get a bit pecky with the air, da, 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 and then your embouchure is sort of resetting in between each tongue note. So what we want to do is keep that stabilized, da, da, da. So it's really isolating the movement of the tongue. That's really the only thing moving when we do those articulations, and just feeling set and connecting the register from there. So building efficiency. So we'll just I don't have this written out, but it's pretty straightforward. So it's just B flat major scale, and then I'll usually go all the way up chromatically to an octave above that. So we'll do a few. So let's do B flat to start. Question?
Is it okay if I stop the screen share?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot that.
Yeah,
was
no,
the
I
line.
can take care of it. You do your thing. Oh, okay.
I'm on it. Okay. Right. So is that clear to everyone? So da, so slur, tongue, tongue, slur, tongue, tongue. Okay, just B flat major scale. And same thing when I'm doing it. If I breathe, I repeat the note that I just played, but we'll just keep going. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna descend. Same thing going down. 1, 2, Great. Okay, so let's just go up the triad. So let's start on a D now. So we'll start on a D, but we're thinking in D major. Okay? 1, 2, descending. Ready. Great. And now let's do starting on F major. And I guess I should say, like, the slurs don't need to be ultra smooth here. We're more just going for that efficiency of getting to the centered note with clean air. So if there's a little bump, it's okay. Okay, so starting on F now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And descending. 2, 3. So that's my warm-up. And yeah, I guess now if people have questions, would be the time. Or comments. That was a terrible idea.
I have a question, Vanessa. I'm curious if you involve in.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
I'm curious if you are a buzzer or not. If you do any kind of mouthpiece or free buzzing or buzzing voices or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's helpful. I do it more when I'm like in the middle of a practice session and just like kind of that minimum efficient dose thing I was talking about. Like I think we often just like work way harder than we need to on licks. So, you know, if I was working on like the opening of the David, for example, I would often just take off my mouthpiece and buzz that and really feel the note connections between all the notes. And then that just totally changes how it feels when you go back to the horn. So I don't do like a big chunk of my warm-up that's buzzing, though. Because I do think when we buzz, we're working harder than when we actually play, right? Like if we actually... it wouldn't be a very good sound, you know, so it's a great tool, but I think it's just important to understand that it's not actually what, like, we're just blowing, and then once our air hits the column of air in the slide, it comes back and brings our lips together to vibrate against each other. So you can be a lot more relaxed than when you actually buzz, but I still think it's a useful practice tool for sure.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, if I may. I was wondering, you were talking about air articulations. I tend to like to build them also into the articulation studies. Would you do that as well? So tenuto, the legato, tenuto, air attack, then staccato, or somewhere in the middle there. I found I was doing that naturally for me.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever done that really just like intentionally. But yeah, I mean, I guess I've practiced like I'll sort of practice doing connected air attacks, but not in different styles necessarily. But that's an interesting idea to try.
Sebastian, it looked like you had a question.
Yes, hi Vanessa.
Hey.
Hey, one question regarding the Caruso studies that you did. Did I hear and see this right, that you breathe through your nose when doing those?
Yes. So that's like a huge part of doing the Caruso
Yeah.
method. I took a couple lessons with oh my gosh, her name is escaping me. The trumpet player in New York who passed away. Neil, what's the name of that trumpet player? Caruso? Jan? No. Darn it! Okay. Laurie Frank. There we go. Okay. So Laurie Frank, who was Caruso's, longtime partner, and then taught his method after he passed away, and then I've just like Neil actually does a lot of Caruso, and so it's a big part of it is that you pretty much exclusively breathe through your nose on all of those exercises, so that you're keeping your setup.
And do you feel that was helpful for you in general for your recovery from the hesitation?
It was one tool that was really helpful. Yeah, definitely. Doing a lot of little exercises like doing an air attack. And then breathing through my nose and then adding a tongue, but so that it feels like exactly the same setup.
Okay, thank you so much.
Just really quickly, I found a YouTube video interview with Laurie Frank, and I'm posting that in the chat. So that is nothing nefarious. If you're interested more in Laurie Frank's teaching, you can copy that YouTube link there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, Caruso method, because people get so dogmatic about it and it's the only thing they do. But I think you can combine some of those ideas, like we do with everyone's teaching. That's how you get your own teaching and playing style, is you take everything you've heard in your professional career and take what works for you and make that your own. So I think you can absolutely you don't have to go all the way, only do Caruso. You can take a few of those exercises and incorporate it into your routine. Yeah.
I just had one quick question, and this is just kind of out of curiosity of your journey. Some players, when they get to, later in their journey, like, maybe they were in the professional scene or whatever, and if you ask them, back when you were in undergrad or back where you were in school or, high school, whatever, when you were kind of practicing and working your way up, knowing what you know now and looking back, do you feel like, yeah, I was doing it in a good way and things kind of worked out and, I feel good about it? Or if you could travel back in time, would you have done it completely differently back then? It seems that a lot of people fall into like one extreme or the other. And I was just wondering what your take on that would be if you were to reflect back on the way that you kind of learned how to play the instrument.
I think I did it in a great way until I won a job. I was doing great. I was practicing so hard, and then it's funny, you get to this place of security, like I finally don't have to take auditions anymore. And it's like really easy when you're only playing in orchestra it feels like you're working all the time. It feels like you're playing all the time because you're on stage. But when you play trombone in an orchestra, we all know you're playing for like 5% of that rehearsal some days. So it's you can feel mentally tired and exhausted, like you've worked hard, but you really haven't. So I think I learned the hard way that when you play in an orchestra, it's like so important to almost double down on the maintenance and the practicing. And that's how I think I kind of got into some trouble, because I just started doing like whatever I had such a strong sound concept that I would just do anything to make it still sound like that, but it wasn't necessarily the most healthy way to be doing it. So now I've been getting back to that, and while it sucks being home all the time, it's been like actually a great 2 months for just really working on all that stuff and feeling stronger in that way. Yeah, and like I said before, I would just encourage you to talk to people about playing, and know that like everyone has parts of their playing that they feel are weaknesses, and I think we should all just have more dialogue about that and be supportive of each other.
Vanessa, it looks like a question came in through the chat regarding I assume the Toronto Youth Symphony, of which you do some work with the brass section in particular. So perhaps you could speak specifically about Toronto's Youth Symphony, or maybe more general for younger students who are taking auditions for either a college entrance or youth orchestras, et cetera. What are the most, what are the things that you look for and listen for in their playing, and what should they be focusing on?
Well, a big one is sound. I remember Joel Lessie once told us when I was studying with him, like he said, the hardest thing to teach is sound. So like when I listen to people playing university auditions, that's like kind of number one, because I know how hard that's going to be to teach. You might be technically great, but if the sound isn't there, that's really hard to get. So, and I agree, that's a really hard thing to teach. And like my other teaching colleague at University of Toronto, Megan Hodge, she's like amazing at getting people to really open up their sound, and I think people that can teach that are just amazing. So sound is a big one, like just making the best sound you can. I think it's important to know that whenever you do an audition, the committee knows you're nervous, and there's a lot that the committee or whoever's listening is willing to forgive for nerves. Like I've never played a note perfect audition. That's not really important, playing all the right notes. It's more, and the other thing for me is goosebump factor. So just like, is what you're playing, if I get goosebumps, you're it. There you go, just if you can play so musically and really convey emotions, and I think you do that by doing extremes. So if you're preparing excerpts or solos, take everything on the page, all the markings, and do them till it feels like it's too much. And then maybe you'll be close to doing them enough. Yeah, don't be boring. That's the worst. Yeah. Anything else?
Seems like we got a quiet group today. You have shocked and awed them with your wonderful warm-up routine.
Okay. Well, it was really cool that you all came online today and did my warm-up with me. So that was really fun. Nice to do something different. Nice to see you all. Really
great stuff. And and the warm-up packet that you mentioned that you might be able to send out, would you be willing to send that to me, and then I could actually maybe just forward it on to the email list that I have, so everybody can kind of check that out.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great. Really appreciate that. But all right.
That was great, Vanessa. Thank you. Really relaxing warm-up. It was great.
Thanks. Nice to see you.
You too.
All right.
Well, if anyone has any questions or whatnot, for Vanessa or any of the other people who have presented, I have all their emails. So if you want to pass a question through me, feel free, and we can kind of make sure that everyone stays in touch as as they're interested. But Vanessa, thank you so much for sharing your talents and insight with us. It's really been wonderful. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I'll give you a nice muted clap now.
You're not all
Thanks
clapping.
so much. It was great. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
well,
everybody.
happy tromboning to all.
Evening.
Yeah. wash your hands and have fun with the trombone. So
It's time for more coffee. Okay, bye.
Teo,
Hey,
how's it going?
fine. I'm fine.
Good.
Thank-
Good. Dave had to bail, but he left his device on so that it'll just continue to record.
Okay, can you stop it? Because it will maybe, I mean, it's not important now, but I don't know how
It'd be
much.
nice to. I can stop my video. I don't think I can stop the recording here.
It's not important. He will manage to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sure once we leave the chat.
Yeah, probably it will go down.
Okay.
Everything clear for the Saturday with Igor?
Yeah. So he sent me the his photo. I'll send out the flyer. Dave's gonna host it. So
Yeah.
just confirm, and it's same time is fine. So I think we'll be we're good to go.
He wrote me, he never used Zoom before, so I will write him that we are online 15 minutes before, and maybe I will not come this weekend.
Okay.
So I will write him that you or maybe both of you with Dave, you're online and he can make a sound check. I think he will use a mobile phone even. He has no... I'm not sure.
Well,
So-
we'll do our best, and it seems like a pretty understanding group. So.
Yes.
So. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Well.
Then maybe Saturday and who is next Wednesday? Is Sebastian.
Let me see. I think that is the order.
Who's Sebastian?
Yeah, Igor, then Sebastian, then Lucas, and then there's the Wednesday the 17th. We don't have anyone yet, although I feel like we will find someone. And then Saturday the 20th is Brad Edwards on the slightly later session.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, you bet, Teo. Good seeing you.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll see you.